A silver shock is starting to hit the industry. This is a commodity you guys don't want to miss, and how it plays into crypto is very interesting. Stay tuned for that. Let's get into the first tweet right here. This is Bullion Star, who goes into an issue around the tightening of the silver market. One thing they're noticing is the wholesale supply. Also, customers lining up before opening. If you don't know Bullion, these guys are a big silver and gold supplier, both in the US, New Zealand, Singapore, etc. Point being is they are getting out there where a lot of demand is happening on physical silver. And this is one of the reasons why we're seeing so much movement on the silver market. I think a lot of people got caught really flat-footed here. If you look at just some of the key points here, silver lease rates, the cost to borrow London silver overnight have spiked 100% annualized. This is hitting an all-time high. If you look at the chart right there, you just don't see this in comparison to previous years. This is a titan move. And one of the things that has happened on the show before, we've had Andy Schectman, and we had him on a couple of weeks ago, kind of breaking down where silver was going and what could be happening. Now, Andy's out there in the field, it looks like, trying to actually acquire silver. This was a clip from today. Take a look at what he had to say.
One of my large distributors in Miami sent me an email almost identical to that Monday morning saying, we are not taking any orders until we get a grasp on the premiums and on the spread. If I go out and I buy 300,000 ounces of silver right now, in order for me to hedge it, I have to use a COMEX contract. That's $2 back a spot. That doesn't work. Normally, I'd buy $5 million worth of silver in my warehouse and short $5 million on COMEX to hedge my exposure. We got a problem.
Yep.
All right, so he is hitting it right there. They do have a problem in how to deal with this. One thing to consider is this right here. USA sending silver bars to London. Basically the silver shock is sending kind of shockwaves around the world because London, there's many articles that have said London's actually not the case. And then they're, of course, kind of countering that with, don't worry, the USA is to our rescue. Andy actually goes the opposite of this in this clip. Take a look.
Even the Bloomberg article that says that there are ships that are being loaded up to send silver over to London, I don't believe that at all. There is not a chance in hell that the metal can move over there fast enough to meet these demands. Yeah, you're talking millions of dollars. So what? The physical demand right now would eat that up for lunch. And if supply were just fine, they wouldn't need this PR push. So it's tariffs. BS it is. And borrowing cost in London that has spiked to 100% annualized. What this tells us is that the demand for physical silver at the highest level, the day a short cannot deliver is the day that silver breaks free. No delivery, no trust. And if COMEX or the LBMA fails to deliver, it's not a dip, it's a liftoff for silver. And the contagion that would come out of that would be extraordinary. I'm trying to tell you that I've never seen anything like this. In all the years I've done this, I have never, ever, ever seen anything quite like this.
All right, so just to be clear, Andy runs an organization that sells silver and gold. He actually might be onto something. And of course, I think the market thinks he's onto something. The race to move gold bars out of London is so frantic, they're even in the cargo of your flight to JFK, coming out of the Wall Street Journal. This simply means that they are trying any means necessary to be able to get raw materials of these commodities moving to these centers where you can actually start to do physical delivery, because that is a big business in the silver and gold community. Now, I want to go to a couple more clips here. This next one will go into a little bit around what he's talking about, how long this could last. Take a look.
So does that mean that we could just as easily see a major pullback?
I have never seen anything like this. And as God is my witness, I made a purchase myself today. Big players are going to receive margin calls and things are going to start to get crazy. Within a week, if this continues, no one in the country will have stuff for immediate delivery.
Wait, within a week, if this continues?
Well, why not? Yeah, absolutely. It's that serious. $2 billion would obliterate everything that's in the Western market in terms of physical supply.
All right, so you got to think about that. If you only had a week's worth of supply of anything out there in a commodity, especially, imagine the price shock that is going to send through the industry, and especially around the industry of silver or commodities like silver. This is something that's being used in all sorts of technology. So it's a raw material, rare earth type raw material that is now being pressured globally. And this is why you're seeing such a move on the price of silver. We also see this with gold also accelerating up the charts. Here's Mike Maloney. He's at Bank of America, and he's talking about the silver price prediction. A little crazy. Take a look.
Bank of America now sees $65 silver.
These bungling idiots. This could happen before the end of the month.
This is a forecast for next year, 2026. They think that's going to happen. So,
and gold might hit 4,200 by the year 5,000, right? These people are so far behind the curve, and they do not seem to understand or take into account human psychology.
Or math.
Or math.
All right, guys, that's gold bugs, silver bugs, understanding the market. The fact that we've already hit 4,200 on gold. We've also seen these price targets that have been clearly missed by some of the biggest ones out there, including Bank of America. Completely missed it. They're going to completely miss it on silver as well. I want to go over to this right here, which is tokenized commodities. You can kind of see the explosion right here. And remember, there's no tokenized silver yet, but see the Tether Gold, Paxos Gold, all skyrocketing right there. There are a couple of places where you can still gain access to it from a tokenized side of thing, and I'll show you that in a second. Before we jump there, you can actually get silver over on your iTrust Capital account. So if you want to do long-term trading and do it tax-free, you can actually do it over at iTrust. They're one of our partners. Perfect timing for them of what's happening in the silver market. So check out itrustcapital.com. We'll leave a link down below so you can kind of learn a little bit more about a crypto IRA, but also using gold and silver. So go there. One other thing you got to look at is this right here. Tiamonds, we've had them on the show before. They rushed out to get more silver as NFTs on their marketplace. You can kind of see it. And then here was the tweet coming in from Maloney. Yesterday, Tiamonds sold many tokenized RWA silver ounces. So again, more demand on what's happening over within the silver market in general. This is a project and platform we've been watching here recently. I'm hoping to get their CEO on, but it's called Denario. And the cool thing is it's tokenized and you can still get physical deliveries. Look at the TVL that's climbing within DSC and Denario. The other thing that you have to consider is this right here. This keeps climbing, crazy. But here's the interesting thing I want you to pay attention to. These are the blockchains that they're on right there, guys. Polygon, Algorand, Plume, Sonium, and BNB. Tokenized silver over on Uniswap. So that might be an angle if you look at that right now and do a tokenized silver swap on Uniswap right around $50. So a pretty good deal in reality in comparison to what we're seeing on physical silver. So let's take a look at some yields on some of these. Denario and also Aris. This is one where you're able to go out and earn some yields on tokenized silver. And you can kind of see the yields right there. But the point is yields will be coming as we start to see this market continue to move. Let's take a look here on Polytrade. And you can see it right there. Commodities and Forex, Denarios, T-Silver, there's Aris right there. And Denario silver coin. So all of this over on Polygon. Pay attention, guys. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. Ethereum layer 2s have been outperforming during this major recent correction. And this could be good for Polygon, because remember, Polygon has been MATIC, which is what it used to trade under. All of that has been now reshifted. I want to go over to a clip because here is a little bit of what Sandeep was talking about L2 season just now beginning. Take a look.
I think it was 62% of tokenized global bonds were on Polygon, which is obviously the majority, which is incredible. So
we are the #1 daily active users on USDC, #1, even ahead of base. Now we believe that it's our time. This is what we do. This is what we are good at.
So it's like 6 months ago, I think you hit like an all-time low.
All the L2s combined, Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, combined are less than 10B or 1011B. Today, Hedera hash graph, that has higher valuation than Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism combined. All these three combined are lower valued than Hedera hash graph, which is an L1. This is basically a market or pricing around L1s. Market is very heavily priced around L1s. The markets will start reversing their pricing of L2s also, which is extremely mispriced right now and lower priced.
All right, so extremely mispriced, lower price right now. Stripe launched a stablecoin subscription on Polygon and Base. Now, think stablecoin subscriptions primarily, because that could be anything, including reoccurring payments. So think Netflix bills, any kind of bills out there that have reoccurring payments, as well as subscription platforms out there utilizing stablecoins now on Polygon and Base. So that's where the L2 explosion could be coming. If you look further over here from Coinbase Markets, one thing to consider here is this migration that is happening. All of this is happening between the 14th and 17th. So this is MATIC to Pol token. And Sandeep even talks about that this was the biggest problem that Polygon had Let me go to a clip real quick. He'll explain a little bit more. Take a look.
Secondly, we upgraded from MATIC token to Pol.
Yes.
So, okay, here everybody knows MATIC is now Pol.
Yeah.
But think about that average trader in Turkey who's basically drives a Uber or he runs a bodega. They have no clue. They just saw that MATIC is no longer there.
Yeah. Okay. So for you, it's not a tokenomics problem. It's a narrative problem.
It's a narrative problem. It's token like 2% is like as low as it gets. Tell me one single project which has lower inflation than us. Like, you see Solana, for example, has 7% annual inflation. But should the name go back to being MATIC, like at least on exchanges?
Change the token ticker back to MATIC.
Yeah, ticker. Yeah,
Let us know.
But let's see what people say.
All right, so you can see it right here, the migration timeline starting to move. And of course, with it, what we're seeing is the acceleration around MATIC. And of course, all this ties into what's happening, even in the silver markets in general. Remember, though, Robinhood delisted Cardano, Polygon, Solana. Remember that, guys? You guys remember that? Well, we're due that. What I mean by that is coming back all the way to 2023, we're due a relisting of Polygon over on Robinhood. When that happens, who knows what could happen, of course, with the Polygon token. All right, let's take a look at gold versus ETH. First to 5K. You can kind of see ETH is leading it out right here at around 63%. So most likely that's going to happen in terms of ETH being the better play. But if you flip that and say, okay, let's go into silver, with all of this supply shock brewing right now, silver could actually be as equal of an investment overall compared to ETH. So I don't know, I'm probably going to play kind of 50-50 on this right now. This is getting a little bit dicey. If you look at ETH right now, even on a 40% move, that would put ETH at around 5,600. I'll kind of zoom in on that for you guys. Right around 5,600 with about a 40% move. Silver, about the same position, probably around $80 on silver. And that's what Andy is kind of pointing to, is we could see an $80 silver. Silver is trading a little under 60 bucks right now. So you guys take it for what it is, not investment advice, but you guys should be doing your research right now around how all this plays into the crypto markets and investing in general. If you're not part of the Diamond Circle, get in. It's a great place to get additional content from me. And follow me out there on X, @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on The Paul Barron Show.